everybody, this is Corey Colton. How are you today? I'm back in my favorite place on the Greenway overlooking the river, and as you can tell, the weather has changed. It's gotten colder. I'm wearing a jacket and the leaves have changed and fallen, and we're going through the turn of seasons again. Here's what I'm thinking about today. I wanted to continue our conversation about psychological safety so that we could finish out the 4 stages. Remember, we've already talked about inclusion safety, which is owed to anyone on the team. We've talked about learner safety, which need to be supported. We've talked about contributor safety, which is earned rather than owed. And we are now going to talk about challenger safety. And here's the thing about challenger safety. Challenger safety is really necessary for any corporation that wants to innovate. It's where innovation starts. And as we know, companies that stop innovating start to die. So challenger safety is really necessary for any leader to enable in their team. My lesson with challenger safety came more recently in my career. Let me give you the background. So I was leading a large team of learning professionals across an organization, and we had spent the previous few years spending political capital and leading a lot of change across the organization. And through that, we were able to centralize all of the learning teams across the organization. We were able to sunset old programs and launch new programs, new leadership development programs. We were able to stand up some new learning groups to support some new major platforms that were rolled out. And as part of that, we also were able to revamp and redesign our safety and compliance training, which was necessary from a regulatory perspective for everybody to take this training, not only on hire, but every year. And in part of that redesign, we had reduced the number of modules from 17 to about 8. We had reduced the time it took for everybody to take those modules from about 3 hours to about 75 to 90 minutes apiece. And we had already reduced what we call unproductive time to return hundreds of thousands of hours to the organization and reduced training costs by over $1 million. And what I wanted at this point in time was just to have some stability. I wanted some peace and quiet. I wanted us to sort of get our operational act together and have some smooth sailing waters. And it was at that point that one of my training managers who had safety and compliance training came to me and said, I figured out a new way to redesign the training that'll take additional time out and return time to the organization. And I sort of responded to her and said, the last 3 years have been so busy. It would just be good to take some time. Is it possible we can do this next year? And she turned to me and she said, you know, you told me and you taught me that anytime we have the opportunity to make things better, that we should. And because of you, I've been working on this new model, and I really think it's the right thing to do. So I ask you, how can you push back on that? When somebody takes your own philosophy and hands it back to you and wants to continue to improve things and make things better. So we had to move forward, and we had to do some things to prepare. Now, when you think of challenger safety, the social exchange for challenger safety is air cover in exchange for candor. So my training manager was giving me candor. She was challenging the status quo. And so my job in this was to provide air cover. So we decided to move forward. And my job was to meet with all of the content owners and the subject matter experts and the executives to let them know about our plans, to build buy-in, to get them to agree that it was the right thing to do before we moved forward. Ultimately, we did revamp the training. We actually took it down farther so that it only took existing employees 40 to 45 minutes to complete, returned another couple $100,000 of productive hours to the organization, and reduced training costs even further by another $500,000. So you see, she was able to innovate because she was able to convince me to give her air cover and to enable challenger safety. And this is really critical for any company that wants to move forward in the future. I hope this series has been helpful for you. If you're at an inflection point about wanting to enable challenger safety, wanting to innovate, or to ensure that you and your teams have psychological safety, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. My email address is corey@inflectionpointcoaching.net, or you can go through my website, www.inflectionpointcoaching.net, and I'd be happy to have a consult call with you and talk through what you'd like to accomplish. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying your fall. The weather here is beautiful. I hope it's beautiful where you are. And I thank you for listening to my videos. Reach out and let's talk. Thanks. Bye.